Well, now to a story that you'll only see on 12 News. A North Dakota teen who fell from a cliff at the Grand Canyon earlier this week is sharing his story of surviving the nearly 100-foot fall. Thankfully, after suffering injuries from the fall on Tuesday, he is now preparing to head home for a long road to recovery. Team 12's Jonathan McCall spoke with him just a few hours ago and is sharing his story tonight. And Jonathan, that was actually his lucky day.
Yeah, you know what? It is really an incredible story, Caribe. Wyatt Kaufman says he was trying to let other folks take pictures at Bright Angel Point on Tuesday when he fell. Tonight, he says he's still trying to wrap his mind around everything that has happened. We do want to warn you tonight that some of the injuries from Wyatt could be tough for some viewers to see. It was supposed to be the trip of a lifetime.
Where the ledge was, and I was moving out of the way for people to take a picture.
Wyatt Kaufman and his mom crossing the Grand Canyon off their bucket list. But the souvenirs from this trip come in the form of scars.
I was squatting down and hanging on to it. I only had one hand on it, so it wasn't that good of grip. And it was kind of pushing me back. And I lost my grip and I started to fall back.
Wyatt falling nearly 100 feet off a cliff at Bright Angel Point Tuesday. He took this picture shortly before the fall. For 2 hours, nearly 40 emergency responders working an intense operation to get him to safety.
2 hours is an eternity in a situation like that, but when they have to rappel down the cliff and get him out of the canyon in a basket.
Wyatt says he doesn't remember much.
I just remember somewhat waking up and being in the back of an ambulance and a helicopter, and then the plane to here.
Dad Brian, home in North Dakota at the time, catching the first flight to Vegas.
It was one of the most heart-wrenching phone calls I've ever had.
Bloodied, bruised, and broken, the 14-year-old bearing the scars of a survivor. The fall leaving him with 9 fractured vertebrae, a concussion, a ruptured spleen, a collapsed lung, broken hand, and dislocated finger.
His face looks so much better today than it did even yesterday.
The road to recovery for this only son is expected to be long, but the family says they're now preparing for a road trip home to make new memories for a lifetime.
We're just lucky we're bringing our kid home in a car in the front seat instead of in a box.
That will definitely put some perspective for you. Brian says all of this, just a freak accident, had no idea that this was even happening. But he does caution parents to make sure you always keep an eye on your kids, even the big ones, especially in those spaces. Wyatt, some good news, hoping to get discharged tomorrow morning from that hospital in Las Vegas where he's been recovering for the last few days so they can begin that long trip back home to North Dakota. We're live tonight. Jonathan McCall, 12 News.